Go time.
There you go.
I have a question for you guys.
That was the clapper today.
That was the clapper? Okay. Well, that's why the music's playing. I didn't know that was why the music was playing.
Sponsored by Code Red.
Yeah, Code Red. Do. I have a question for the audience. Do any of you, just put it in the chat, in the comments, have you ever considered eating a pickle wrapped in pepperoni?
I'm going to comment real quick.
Give them a second to respond. Jason this morning.
There's one.
Just one.
Affirmative.
Just one. Jason this morning said for breakfast he had a pepperoni wrapped pickle. And I said, is that like a real thing? And he said, what are you talking about? I was like, did you buy it? And he said, yeah, I bought the ingredients. I said, so you made it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that those pepperoni, the size of like sandwich bread.
Yeah, it's sandwich pepperoni.
Like a tortilla.
It's not quite that big. That would be awesome. It's like this size.
That's a small tortilla.
Like the size of...
That's like a street taco tortilla.
It's like the size of bologna.
And he said that for breakfast, he just wrapped it around a pickle and ate it.
Yeah. And I had some rich chocolate Ovaltine with it.
That's... Oh! That is the worst. That's too many flavors.
It was a lot.
Chocolate milk.
It was a lot. It was more than I had bargained for, but it was there.
Chocolate milk, pickle. That's what you mix together for a youth group punishment.
Yeah, or I may be pregnant. I don't know. It's I have been craving pickles a lot lately.
Yeah.
And but like the good pickles, like the kinds you get like at Firehouse, and
the Clausens.
Yeah. That's what I had this morning.
Yeah, those are good.
The ones you get in the refrigerated section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took one of those.
Yeah.
And wrapped it in a giant pepperoni.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
And no, it was good. Next, I'm gonna add some sharp cheddar to it.
I'm trying to imagine all those flavors. Like, I apologize for this. This is gross. But trying to imagine burping after eating that is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, that was gross. Just FYI. I didn't want to taste them all simultaneously.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to like dip my pickle in my chocolate milk. But that's how the burp worked. So, in case y'all wanted to know that.
That's so gross.
So, I may not have that combination again, just
I wouldn't.
For the after
if you
effect.
Do, just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, but you should really try the pepperoni wrap pickle. It is delicious.
No, I should not. Abby, whenever she was pregnant, she liked hot Cheetos and pickles.
Yeah.
Like together as a snack. Not like mixed, but like she'd eat some hot Cheetos, eat a pickle.
Mm.
She enjoyed that combination.
I can get that.
That also grosses me out slightly.
Pickles. Sometimes I get, often actually, I get pickles on my pizza at Larry's.
Yeah, like cheeseburger pizza.
No, it's just regular pizza.
Like a pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
Add pickles.
Yeah. I actually get they have where you can get toppings on the cheese sticks.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Meaty sticks. I order that with pepperoni, sausage, and pickles. And it's delicious, dipped in ranch.
I'm so disappointed in you. I do like ranch. I like Larry's ranch.
Yeah, their ranch is some of the best.
Huh.
So, but they have their pickles that they put on there are like the good kosher pickles just chopped up. They're not just plain old dill pickles. They're like the classic or whatever they're called. They taste like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shop Podcast.
We're currently streaming on the Food Network.
Yeah. Yeah. We surpassed 1,000 downloads across Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
We're getting a pewter plaque for it.
Yeah. What's pewter?
That's for 1,000.
What's pewter?
It's like a matte finish silver.
Okay. That'll be nice.
I used to have a necklace.
That was pewter?
That was made out of pewter. It was a dragon holding a marble.
Of course you did. That sounds cool. That sounds really cool.
I wore it often.
That sounds so cool. Yeah,
I
so
was one of those kids.
we surpassed
Still
1,000 downloads. We're still waiting on our plaque. We have to make our own plaque.
We have to
I thought
carve it. at a
Spotify would
computer.
make us one.
I'll ask him.
Okay.
I'll send him a letter.
Yeah.
Write him a strongly worded
Yeah.
letter about
Yeah.
our pewter plaque.
We're also total across season 1 and season 2, almost to 50 episodes.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Are we gonna do something special on the
bar mitzvah.
50th? And so we've become a man now. At 50.
We're gonna every podcast episode is special.
Man's podcast.
Yeah.
When we get to 100, we do have to do something
Yeah, it'll be 3 years.
extraordinary. We're so old then.
Do you think we'll still be doing this in 3 years?
I feel like we will. But
Yeah.
do you?
I think we're going to struggle to. We're going to have to start repeating some topics.
Yeah.
We'll probably be able to speak better on most of these topics in 3 years, I would assume.
Yeah, it'll be like the
Have to correct some things.
Yeah, it'll be like the director's cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the,
Not really.
That's a
We could show
the
clips of previously.
remix.
Previously.
Yeah.
On the Shop podcast. Here's where we got it wrong.
I like that. We could do a bloopers episode.
We don't cut anything out.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes we do trim off the front.
So it's just be like a front trim episode.
Yeah, like a. It's like
I don't know
the
what that-
bangs.
I don't know what that means.
Front trim.
That's-
Your
that's-
bangs. Just gotta get them out of your eyes.
Yeah, just straight across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber style.
Block your vision.
You have a fuzz dangling off the end of your shoe, and it's bothering me. If you
Get
it's
it
a
for me.
no, it's dog hair.
Where is that? I don't think that's dog hair.
Yeah, it's dog hair. There's a
came-
dog in here.
Came from this carpet in here.
On today's episode of the Shop podcast, we're answering another question sent in on Slido.
You know.
You can't send in any more questions.
Yeah,
The
'cause-
link has ended. You can
Yeah.
still view it.
They were terrible questions anyway.
You can still vote for it. I don't know. I don't know if you can vote or not.
I don't know how that works.
But third most voted question. It's actually the last two were tied for first. This one's in third. I think all by itself. Is this? Why is
So it's the last one as well.
know what?
It's the
No,
last
we have
question.
several. We
Oh,
have several.
I was like,
Yeah.
There's only 3 questions, and this
No,
is,
no, no,
this
no, no,
is
no,
at the top 3.
No. There's several.
Okay,
more.
okay, gotcha.
The question is this: why is growing up so hard and not very fun?
I don't know.
It says depressing.
I haven't grown up yet.
Still,
I just got a text from my mom right now.
So you reminded me of your dentist appointment.
Nah, it's something else.
Do you make your own dentist appointments?
I don't go to the dentist.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Do you make your own?
I'm anti-dentist.
Do you make your own doctor's appointments?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Tina doesn't make them for you.
No, I make.
Do you make Tina's doctor's appointments?
Sometimes. I make the kids' doctor's appointments.
My mom still texts me and reminds me whenever I have an eye doctor appointment coming up because it like still messages her.
Oh,
It
yeah.
messages like both of us.
Yeah, no, I make my own, but I don't go to the dentist that often. I hate going to the dentist actually.
What do you mean by that often?
Like every 8 years? No, I've been to the dentist once since I've moved here,
Yeah,
and
I love the
it
dentist.
was terrible.
I love it. I love
I mean-
the dentist.
No offense to anybody that works there, but it was awful.
Yeah,
It's traumatic.
we have a lot of dentists that listen to this, so they're gonna be upset.
Yeah, I mean, the dentists that I know, I love them as people, but their profession is awful. I hate going to the dentist. So there's that. Everybody's
They hate your Sunday school class.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's so good to have your teeth cleaned. It feels so great. It does not.
I love getting
Feels
my teeth
awful.
cleaned. I do love it.
It's torture.
No, it's fantastic.
Like, you
just
tie me
lay there.
down and scratch me with a dull needle.
Yeah, it's better than a sharp needle.
No, probably better with a sharp needle.
Do you feel it on your teeth?
Yeah,
I don't feel it.
I have sensitive teeth.
One of the worst things about growing up
is going to the stinking dentist. Actually, when you grow up, you don't have to go to the dentist anymore because you can do what you want to do.
Yeah. We're not advising it.
Officially.
We unofficially advise not going to the dentist. I go to the dentist. One of the two of us has regular dental hygiene practices.
Yeah. Well, that's,
I haven't always. I did go like 8 years without going once. But then I realized that insurance paid for it, and so now I go again.
Yeah.
It's free.
Well, I don't sign up for free torture.
Why do you think? Was my struggle with this question. I wish I knew who it was that wrote it in.
Yeah.
And I wish I could get some more details.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like,
Yeah.
what's like the question behind the question? Like,
Yeah.
what are we really asking here?
Yeah.
Because parts of growing up is awful, but then parts are really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Right.
Like maybe this specific things that
so
this
if
person's
it was
talking
you,
about.
Message us.
Yeah.
We'd love to know a little bit more details
Yeah,
about why you sent this question.
We'll keep you anonymous if you want to be anonymous.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, or if because a few of you voted on this question as well. So like if you voted on it, send us a message. Be like, hey, this is why growing up is the worst.
I asked my daughter if it was her, and she said no. But I thought that it might have been her.
Yeah, it's not Anna. So we're going to talk about some stuff. But if we miss it, if we miss the reason why you sent this question in,
because we could
send in, like, clarify us on what you mean, and then we'll do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll edit it.
Yeah.
Wear the same clothes and everything.
No, probably not. You might. There's a good chance you will.
I only have so many T-shirts.
You wear the same pants, podcast pants.
Yeah, these are the same pants every episode, and I don't know the last time they were washed.
So, question for you: Why would you guess they sent in this question? Like, what makes, like, what are the challenges that come along with growing up that would make growing up not fun?
I would have to imagine the stress of it, I guess. And maybe I don't know, maybe there's this perception, and again I'm trying to answer for someone that I don't know exactly what their intent was, but maybe there's a thought process that, hey, things are really stressful now. I have a lot of pressure on me from parents, school, whatever. And when I can't wait until I'm an adult and I can do what I want to, and all this stress is gone. But then, once you get closer to being an adult, you realize that that's not how it works.
Okay.
The pressure doesn't go away.
So you think
it shifts.
you think whenever they say what makes growing up not so fun, you think that they mean like this specific young adult season is not fun, but my adult season will be, and my childhood season was, but it's just this 5-8 years that's terrible.
I don't know. Maybe I think more so they thought that the transition to like being an adult and being on your own
Would be different.
would be more fun
Yeah.
and easier
Okay.
than they had anticipated.
Okay.
And they've realized that it's not always as fun or as easy.
Why not?
Just because you still have responsibilities, they're just different. They've shifted.
Well, I think that's it. That's the word that I wrote down. I don't know if that's
responsibility.
yeah, responsibility.
Yeah, I think that.
And not like even still. I think it's the first time in your life you have responsibility.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I think even as a teenager and in high school, like I felt like I had responsibilities, with school and other things.
You got
that
somebody watching over your shoulder the whole time.
Yeah, but I had a job when I was in high school, and I had stuff that I had to do at school that I was responsible for. So I had this like certain level of pressure to to do these things and do them well. But like when you become an adult, I don't know, you still have responsibility. You get more responsibility, and it's a different kind of responsibility.
Yeah.
And like we were having, Tina and I were having this discussion the other day because I told her the subject matter that we were going to talk about. And so we chatted about it a little bit. But I remember in high school, or even younger, like when it was nearing summer break, like you had this pressure and this stress at school, and you had tests and homework and all this, whatever extracurricular stuff you were involved in, and there was just kind of this constant pressure while you were in that part of the year. But like on that last day of school, like when school let out, like I remember like physically feeling lighter. Like this burden was lifted. I was like, oh, I can breathe. I got like a couple of months of doing whatever I want to do. And so I remember that feeling of that burden being lifted off. And, talking to Tina the other day, it's like as an adult, I don't know that I've ever had that feeling again.
Right. Yep.
That feeling's gone.
Yeah.
So there's a constant pressure and responsibility that's really never ending.
Yeah.
Especially when you have kids and stuff like that. You get married and like family dynamic changes and that kind of thing. So I mean, I could see like where that part of it, you could be like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
This is actually pretty hard.
Yeah.
And kind of, at times can feel miserable.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But I mean, I would argue that that's not necessarily the case. But I mean, I know there's times where I felt like that.
Yeah. So like the responsibility, so high school life or school life.
Yeah, or even like early college.
Yeah.
For me, it was kind of the same because I was still living at home when I first went to college, and so it was really basically the same as high school for a couple years.
Yeah. But at least once you like high school life, like it's just they tell me what classes to take.
Yeah.
Like everybody's got to take the same classes. Maybe some people are taking like AP classes or classes get them college credit, whatever it may be. But for the most part, everybody's taking the same stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody may take a few extra math classes, a few extra biology classes.
You're all in the same boat there.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of decisions to be made.
Yeah.
If you do have a job, it's because you want to be able to afford to go to the movies with your friends.
Yeah.
It's not anything high pressure, high stress for most high school students.
Yeah.
There's a few outliers that you were in special situations where there was high stress in high school, and so we do not want to like exclude you. You just experienced this earlier than most people do. But then once you get into college, like it's totally up to you.
Yeah.
Like they're asking you, what do you want to do? What degree do you want to get?
Yeah.
Or maybe you didn't go to college. Where do you want to work?
Yeah.
And it's not just a matter of working somewhere so that you can afford a bicycle. It's a matter of working somewhere that's going to lead to a career.
Yeah.
And so it's like
and you don't have people kind of
responsibility.
Yeah. You don't have people kind of holding your hand through stuff. And for the most, I mean, I wouldn't say this across the board, but I mean, probably more prevalent in college. Your professors don't care if you do your homework.
Yeah.
They don't care if you turn your stuff. You either do or you don't.
Yeah, the school cares if you pay.
Yeah.
They don't care if you
pass. No, I had professors in college that were like, hey, how come why are you struggling? What's going on? I don't mean to say that none of them care, but I mean, it is a different dynamic. They're not, really like reminding you.
Yep.
And it's the shift of responsibility really shifts to like yourself.
Right.
Instead of others. So.
Yeah. And you have people. I think most of us probably have people available to help lead us and guide us, but they're not telling us what to do as much as they were whenever we were in high school.
Yeah.
They're just asking us questions and maybe helping us answer those questions.
Yeah, and now the pressure is on you. Like if the decision's like 90 to 100% yours now,
right?
Whereas it was less of your decision before.
Yeah.
And something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Then and somebody, you feel like somebody needs to be blamed for it.
Right. And it's you.
You got to blame yourself.
Yeah.
And so that, I think that's a different kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Than when, basically all your decisions are being made for you. It's just your responsibility to live up to those things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think responsibility would make growing up harder. I think we've used this word through this point, but pressure. And by that I mean feeling like you need to be in a certain stage of life, or feeling like you need to have everything figured out and you don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Feeling, I was talking to a guy just this past summer, who was a sophomore, going to be a sophomore in college. So it was following his freshman year of college. And he said, I just feel like everybody else knows what they want to do, and I'm still not sure.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, nobody knows. You're 20 years old, and he was feeling that pressure to have his whole life, the next 50 years of his life figured out.
Yeah.
And I was like, they may think they know what they want to do, but they're probably going to change their mind. Maybe they won't, but most people are probably in that same boat.
Yeah.
And you may feel like
that's the majority.
Yeah. Yeah. There's 40-year-olds that are still trying to figure out what they want to do for the next 40 years.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm doing now is not what I had planned when I was in high school or college, beginning of college.
So I think responsibility, I think expectations, to have life figured out, to have a certain amount of money, to meet these checkpoints, have a house by this age, be married by this age, have kids by this age, that's heavy. And so those are probably the main two things I wrote down of why growing up could be hard is responsibility, and then expectations from others. Maybe lonely.
Yeah, depending on your situation, I guess.
Yeah. For me, high school or school, my friends were built into my life. They were who I played baseball with. They were who I was neighbors with.
Yeah.
And then eventually you reach an age where it's like, okay, if I want to have friends, it's kind of up to me now. They're not just built into my schedule.
Yeah.
And that can lead to some loneliness.
Yeah, pretty much all mine were church or work.
Yep.
Once I got out of high school, I don't really keep up with anybody that I went to high school with. Really,
right.
May run into them on occasion or talk to them on occasion, but
yep.
But I can definitely see loneliness, especially if you're
on the quieter side of personality.
Yeah, and if you, depending on kind of how things shake out for you as far as how school goes and where you end up, and I mean, if if you're super smart and you go straight into college and finish it real quick, and then you're out in the real world, and you're not maybe living at home anymore, and I could see where that would be a little tougher. I mean, I don't know. I'm just when you first gave me this or told me about this question, I just really, I was just kind of puzzled, just kind of trying to figure out what, again, kind of what was meant behind it, because I don't know, man. I don't guess I had that experience.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, there was things about being an adult that were harder. And I had to pay more attention to, and I had to, learn responsibility in some areas, and, I made some mistakes and had to figure that out along the way. But I mean, for me, I don't look back on it and think man, becoming an adult was really hard.
Yeah.
I can see times that were hard, but I don't know. I kind of took it as even in high school, I kind of had my dream I didn't really have like career goals necessarily, but my dream was just to have a family. That was like what I always wanted. I wanted to get married, have kids, have a family, and whatever else came along with that, I was on board with. Like I'd just find a job, find a career, whatever. And I don't know, the Lord made that available for me and have something. I got married when I was 20, and Tina was 19, and we're still married and have kids and have family, and I don't know, we just grew through that. And I like change. I like new things, even when they're unknown and scary. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do this and see what happens. I that's my personality, I guess, though. But for those that maybe don't like change and don't like the unknown, I could see how it could be really
terrifying.
Really like a lot of anxiety, a lot of like, I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And so I tried to think about that but it's hard when I didn't experience that.
So what for the person that is anxious about this stage of life, stressed about this stage of life for whatever reason, did you think through, I thought through a few passages of scripture, and maybe one primary point, that they could walk away with.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like how do we like take a biblical approach to this other than just like my experience.
Yeah.
And I mean the thing that I kind of fell back on is that if we're talking about growing up and we're talking about like maturing and that kind of thing. I mean there's several passages in scripture that talk about spiritual maturity. And there's this expectation for us not to remain like stagnant in our spiritual life. And I just kind of got to thinking like if that's the expectation for us is to grow spiritually, I don't know how you can, because of the way we were created, I don't know how you can even separate those two. Like if my focus is to grow spiritually, then I think I'm going to grow like socially, mentally, physically, whatever, I'm going to grow like out in the real world, if you will. If I'm trying to grow spiritually, that's kind of going to be a byproduct of that.
There's a passage in Luke, early in Luke, I think, where it says that Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. As all these things were happening at once.
That was one of the ones that I read. And like in Hebrews, I can't remember the passage there, but it talks about, it's more of like a kind of, he was kind of, whoever the writer of Hebrews was kind of getting on him about like, hey, you should be more mature by now. And there's some other passages that talk about, the importance of our maturity. There's just this implication that as Christians, maturity should be something that we strive for and we work for. Yeah. And I just related that back to, I don't see how you can separate that.
Okay.
If that's what you're pursuing as a Christian, is Christian maturity, then what's going on in your life is going to kind of follow that. Like if you're struggling with being single, then or loneliness, I think you go to the scripture and you go in prayer and you find a community of believers as we're instructed to, and it kind of works through all that. Okay. Does that making sense at all?
I'm trying to track. I'm trying to like picture myself. I'm a 19-year-old. I come to you. I'm like, hey, like this is harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm hearing you say is grow up.
I I don't. Yes, but I don't want to say that because I don't want it to sound like I don't care.
Yeah.
That you're struggling because I
yeah.
do, and I'm not saying that I've never struggled.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that maybe it's not as bad or as hard as you think it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I think I'm saying.
Okay.
So like, kind of step back for a minute.
Yeah.
And I still think, like we say on everything that we talk about, if we focus on our relationship with Christ and we spend time in prayer, we spend time in the Word, we spend time in community with other believers as we're instructed to, then being an adult's going to be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Growing, like maturing and growing and going through these seasons of life is going to be a lot easier because you have the support that God has promised to give you.
Right. All right. So let's clarify easier, and you just did, but easier doesn't mean you're going to have friends, you're going to have money, you're going to have the job.
No, not like
does not
prosperity per
right.
se.
Yeah.
But you're going to be able to manage it well.
Okay. Yeah. So it allows you to take a step back and to view things from heaven's perspective.
Yeah.
And so even whenever you are struggling with money, you take a step back and you say, okay, well, like this isn't necessarily fun right now, but God's shaping me for something in this season. Yeah. In a period of loneliness, you step back and you say, oh, this isn't necessarily fun.
Yeah.
But I know that this is going to have a purpose.
Yeah. Now, did I do that when I was in those?
Right.
No.
Yeah, you did. You're perfect.
You
said it. Well, no, be more like Jason.
No, I did not have that perspective then.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm going to give, advice of any sort, it is to allow yourself some grace, if you will, and kind of back out of that a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe try to see God working in these things that are going on. I think if I could have done that more when I was younger, I would have been less stressed and less, in those times that I was. So
So if we wanted to put it in a word,
like
advice, like perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like understand
I think so.
that God is shaping you.
Yeah.
That it's not just about growing as a human.
Yeah.
But growing as a son or a daughter of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like this, the season that you're in has purpose.
Yeah. And I could look back now and I could list tons of things.
Yeah.
That like at the time I thought this is terrible.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have to do this. This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But I can look back now and be like, okay, well, because I had to go through this, now I'm more equipped to handle what's going on in my life right now. Or I'm more equipped to handle this kind of relationship or this kind of situation or handle my money in this way or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I went through those things at the time. And I just maybe remind people that God's at work. If you have a relationship with Christ, He's promised to be there with you.
Yeah.
And He's going to help you through any kind of situation that you're in. Don't forget that.
Yep. The thing I thought about was like, what is so fun or freeing or relaxing? I don't know the word, but about being a kid. And I think one of the things is that like you're not in charge.
Yeah.
You're not in charge of where you go, where you eat.
Yeah.
What you're going to have for dinner.
Yeah.
What school you're going to go to, where you're going to live. Like all of those decisions are made for you, and you just get to have fun. You just along for the ride.
Yeah.
And then the stress of growing up is that some of that responsibility is then transferred to you. You decide, it was what we talked about earlier. You decide where you go to school. You decide who you want to be, what you want to do with your life. But I would challenge you, maybe encourage you with this. let go of that control even as an adult.
Yeah, I was supposed to say you're still not in charge.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Is
Yeah. Well,
quit
good.
thinking you're in charge.
Yeah.
Quit thinking you have to do this all on your own. You don't.
Yeah. And maybe that's where the miserableness of adulthood comes in, is trying to take it all on
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
which is never what was intended for us.
Right. Cast all your anxieties upon the Lord because He
Yeah.
cares for you.
Yeah.
That we're constantly
That's good.
before Him in prayer, saying like, Lord, I give you control, and casting all your anxieties on the Lord is like taking it off of you and placing it on Christ. And you say something similar to like, Lord, I'm letting you be in charge of this now. I was worried about what school I was going to go to, but instead I'm going to let you worry about that. And I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah. Didn't you talk about that in one of your
Probably.
Vices and Virtues sermons?
Probably.
We were talking about pride. Like pride was kind of
trying to be in control.
you're trying to be in control and
Yeah.
trying to handle everything yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The take my yoke upon you.
Yeah.
For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
Yeah.
That whenever you're yoked together with Christ, that's like a farming term, where two ox or cows or whatever were yoked together and could pull a plow together. And so we yoke together with Christ, and He does all the work. We're just there with our head in the thing.
Yeah.
And so I think a part of the stress that you have, or the anxiety that comes with growing up, is feeling like you're in charge and you're not.
Yeah.
Like
That's I think that's an idea that our culture gives us.
Yeah.
That's not a biblical idea.
right. No, you're not in charge. You're in charge of very little.
Yeah.
Like thinking through like the apostles, whenever they're in the boat with Jesus and there's a storm, and they're like, Jesus, wake up, we're about to die. And He says, peace, be still. And you realize that, like he's actually the one in charge.
Yeah.
We thought this storm was in charge, but come to find out there's somebody else that's in charge of everything. And so we can and whenever we know who our God is, whenever we understand, because that's scary if God's not good.
Yeah.
But we know that God is good, and
Yeah.
He proved it by giving His life for us. And so whenever we understand that the one in charge loves us more than we could ever imagine,
Yeah.
now we can just relax a little bit.
Yeah. And it's scary when we
Yeah.
if we think that God's not with us, God's not around, or He's
Yeah.
left us alone.
Right.
But I see if we understand like He's living in us,
Yeah.
if we have a relationship with Him, I mean, like He's always on board,
Right.
our ship, if you will. so,
Relationship
relationship
on board
aboard
our ship.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's that. Yeah. So I mean, you have the Holy Spirit in you, and He's promised to be our comforter and our guide, our interpreter. So yeah, I think we forget that sometimes. I mean, even as like I forget that, even as I'm a little ways into my adulthood.
Yeah.
And I still forget that.
Yeah.
But also still hung on to my immaturity as much as possible. And so
No. I've never noticed.
No.
Also, you don't have to have it all figured out.
Ever.
Like that's a part of giving up control.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of within that same category. That's a lie. You do not have to have it all figured out. Don't quit feeling like you have to. Let go of some of that. Take it step by step. I read a book a couple of years ago called "Do the Next Right Thing," and it was the idea of like everybody feels like they need a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan or a 15-year plan. But Scripture says, don't worry about tomorrow. You just worry about today. And so while you may not know what the next 5 years is going to look like, but you probably know what you need to do today to live in obedience to God.
Yeah.
And just do that.
Sure.
Just worry about that.
And we're not promised the next moment.
Right.
So yeah, just
Yeah.
pursue God, pursue things that are going to bring Him honor and glory, and I promise you, if you do that,
Yeah.
it's going to be more than okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast.
Yep. Do the next right thing. The Lord's shaping you. Yeah. A passage I thought of earlier and forgot to mention, whenever you're talking about, like, this is a season of growth, of maturing, is make every use of the time, for the days are evil.
Yeah.
And that word time can be translated season. And so make every use of the season that you're in, because the days are evil. And so the Lord's shaping you right now in whatever season you may be in, whether it's college or you got a job or you're trying to figure out who you're going to marry. Like, just understand that the Lord is working in you in this season, and He's preparing you for something. And if you'll allow Him, it's going to be better than anything you could imagine.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I'm interested to know whether that helped or not. Or if that was even remotely what the question was.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
I mean, paying bills is awful.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
having to clean your own house is not the best.
Yeah.
Instead of your parents doing it or whoever, unless you have like somebody you pay to do that.
Yeah.
I don't.
It depends on how you view it.
You know, like if you have a spouse to do it and you pay them.
No, I'm
do you mean?
saying, like, I don't enjoy doing dishes,
Yeah.
but I enjoy having the dishes being done.
Like after they're done, you enjoy the
Like,
feeling, or you enjoy
no,
somebody else doing them for you?
No. I'm saying that, like, there is a reward that comes along with the work of being an adult. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense.
Like
you-
after
you're
you finish mowing your yard.
Yeah, you're talking about, like, the feeling of, and I'm not saying you have to enjoy every chore, but, like, you're talking about the feeling of summer. Sometimes I feel that way after, like, let me just tidy up this space a little bit, and I get
Yeah.
it done. I'm like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for laundry. I don't like doing laundry ever.
Yeah, you hate it. You hate it.
Ever. It
okay.
does not feel good to me even after I get it done.
It's okay. You need to grow up. That's the advice you gave them.
Yeah.
That's the advice I'm giving you.
I'm trying to.
Grow up.
I'd rather do dishes.
I do like that. That's what I heard you say. You didn't say it, but that's what I heard.
Why is it growing up so bad? Just grow up.
Shut up, kid. Beat it. Football head.
Get off my lawn.
Nerd. Just grow up.
Yeah, I'm still working on that.
Advice or growing up?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. Well, I hope this helps.
Yeah. Y'all go out and get you some sandwich-sized pepperonis.
Gross.
Wrap them around a fresh classic pickle.
Classic.
Is that what it's called?
I think it ends with an N.
Clausen.
Clausen.
The Clausen. The ones that are in the refrigerated section with the sliced meats.
Or did you mean to say classic? Get you a
No,
classic
it's
pickle.
Clausen.
That's a classic pickle.
It's a classic pickle. It's a kosher. It's delicious. Wrapped around some pepperoni. Well, pepperoni's wrapped around it. I don't think I wrapped the pickle around the pepperoni. But I'm going to try.
Oh, man.
Trust me, it's tasty.
No, it's not.
With some
It's
sharp
random.
with some sharp cheddar spread.
I don't like cheddar. Especially not sharp cheddar.
Oh, sharp is great.
No,
Extra sharp.
I don't like that.
It's a piece of my childhood, I think.
No, it's a piece of cheese.
No, like that flavor combination
Pickle.
is
Pickle, pepperoni, and cheese.
yeah.
Like, that's what you grew up on?
I was on a pretzel.
No. What? Hold on.
Yeah.
You can't just keep adding random things.
No, I'm not. That like I thought we talked about this on the podcast before.
All of those?
Yes.
Pickle,
there was this
pepperoni, and
place
cheese.
and so I grew up in Levy in North Little Rock.
It's pronounced Levy.
No, it's Levy. I grew up in Levy And at McCain Mall, there was it was like a German store called Mr. Dunderback's.
Yeah, naturally.
They had pretzels and like
If it's German, it's Dunder.
Dunderbachs.
Dunderbachs.
They had like pretzel and beer and Polish sausages. It was like that kind of place, right?
Okay.
But you could go in there and order I think it was I don't know if it was a deluxe or a supreme or something, but a soft pretzel. And they would take the soft pretzel and have sharp cheddar spread that they would spread across it. They'd take pepperonis, put on top of that, and they would take diced kosher pickles, put on top of that. And it was delicious.
We'll see you next time on the Shop Podcast.
So, there you go. I'm going to recreate that thing.
Yeah, the next Shop Podcast Live. That's what we're going to have.
So, we're going to have Mr. Dunderback on here.
Yeah, Dunderback. Mr. Dunderback.
But, for any of you who have parents or grandparents that grew up in Levy and know about that, then they'll know. If you know, you
They
know.
can still go to the mall without living in Levy.
Well, I mean, but if you didn't live in Levy...
It was like a McCain Mall.
Yeah, I guess if you lived
I
in
grew up
Lakewood...
in Redfield and we went to McCain Mall.
Yeah, well, that's not the same. If you're not from that neighborhood. Of course, Levy's not in the mall neighborhood either, but that's more Lakewood. But those are rich people that lived in Lakewood. Our drummer...
No, I'm trying to end it.
Our part-time...
I'm trying to end this podcast.
One of our drummers on Sunday, Steven, he would know.
Because everybody who lived in Central Arkansas went to the McCain Mall.
He grew up in Lakewood, right there close, so he was probably a frequenter of Mr. Dunderback's. I bet.
We'll see you next time on the Shop Podcast.
So, go get you a pretzel cheese, pepperoni, pickle, repeat.